Hi, I'm Drake, and this is my,
Brother?
Yeah, my brother, Josh.
Can't you see the resemblance?
Difference between making your show and making your new Nick movie, Drake and Josh Go Hollywood. The dialogue.
You guys are lame.
You're lying.
It burns.
It's burning?
Yes, it's burning.
It's burning?
Drake and Josh has brought interesting things to my life and this channel. Not only is there a slew of banned episodes, lost behind-the-scene drama, but even like lost media and character flanderization, there's just a lot to go over of Drake and Josh that is just a part of its history. So I wanted to compile some of the most interesting and confusing pieces of Drake and Josh that I swear have gotten lost to time and put it all together in this one video. So today we're gonna go over some of the lost media I found, including like interviews, bloopers, and even like lost promotions, as well as going over why I think the 4th season is just straightforward broken, and talk about some of the horrible character flaws that came with this entire series over time, and then maybe even talk about some of the banned episodes. So sit with me because we are about to jump in on a Drake and Josh roller coaster. So you know how on iCarly and Victorious, they had a huge internet presence, whether it was iCarly.com or The Slap, all with like extra media following the characters outside of their normal days. Perhaps you remember even behind the scenes pranks or like really obscure things that Dan Schneider would like put to his Twitter. These would either feature Jerry Trainer, Miranda Cosgrove, like everything that the fans wanted to see outside of the show. And the same goes for the 2000s. Like, when Drake and Josh was first coming up, there was so much lost media surrounding the show and, like, to promote the show. And because the internet wasn't so prevalent, it was kind of, like, hard to save some of these things. I found, like, interviews, lost promos, and even guest appearances that Drake and Josh did during the run of the show that I swear have been lost to time. So I'm going to show you 5 of the most interesting deep cuts I found on the internet. I'm curious if you guys have seen these before. And stick around because number 5 is like kind of the craziest of them all. Like I never thought this would like resurface. But let's hop into it.
Actually, we're not really related. My mom married his dad.
Yeah, and now we're gonna do all the great stuff brothers do. Play video games, do homework, meet girls.
Whoa, chill, man. Just because we're brothers now doesn't mean we have to do things together.
Dad! Okay.
Maybe a few things.
Well, can I borrow your basketball? Your guitar? Your underwear? Mom!
Drake and Josh. Catch it again Wednesday at 8:30 p.m., 7:30 Central in T-Nick.
Brotherly love.
So before the series, like after they filmed the pilot, the Amanda show, Drake and Josh were on the red carpet. It's so fun seeing them like interact in this way because they were like borderline strangers at this point.
Oh yeah, what's up?
So what brings you out today?
We're just here to see a good show and promote our new show that comes out in January called The Drake and Josh Show.
Uh-huh. And I guess you're Drake.
Yes.
It's so cool watching like completely candid moments for them, especially before the show became super popular. You know, there's something humbling about it.
Dorky and can't get any girls.
And he dresses like a woman.
But I'm sure that's not true in real life, is it?
Exactly, that's no different from what I'm
It's actually the opposite. I'm the dork and he's just the player.
Oh yeah, totally.
I just had to keep some of this stuff because I thought it was so funny. It's definitely like a slice of real life.
Unfortunately, we're not. We did a promo and I'm running the bird booth.
Live break it during the show.
Oh, a lot. Okay. Well, we'll be waiting.
Cool.
Thanks
See
a
you
lot,
later.
Josh.
Thanks.
A lot, Drake.
One of the other experiences was actually on a game show, a Teen Nick styled show, right before the 4th season of Drake and Josh, where I guess they're going on to promote it, and they reveal a lot of interesting things about themselves on this.
Gonna perform live for us right here, coming up in a little while, right?
Sorry, his phone was ringing. It's
We also want to show you guys a sneak peek at our brand new Drake and Josh Go to Hollywood.
And promoting Drake and Josh Go to Hollywood, like, that's such a crazy concept. I don't know why I never saw this. The ad-lib and improv are so interesting because it's so weird seeing them talk unscripted. Like,
The hot dog eating contest went to my great uncle Dwight, and I won.
Who won?
I won, of course.
All right, well, check this out. It's time to get serious. Time to get serious, Josh.
at the time, I thought that all this stuff was, like, very heavily rehearsed, but it's just them being candid with us. The audience is in on it, too, and it's kind of like a gossipy show. Kind of reminds me of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen.
Had a crush on someone you worked with?
yeah, Josh.
Yeah,
guys having the
What's your
manager
dream
of the
job?
premiere?
What's your dream job outside of acting?
Hot dog seller.
What should the plot be for the next Drake and Josh movie?
Drake and Josh go to Singapore.
All right. What's your favorite
popcorn.
What's your favorite song to sing in the shower?
Highway to Heaven.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
But yeah, this was a really fun one. I can't believe that this was a teen show. Like, why do they need to throw popcorn at the kids? Like, I don't know. That just seems random to me. But then again, Teen Nick was kind of random.
Drake and Josh, and Nick spun the Teen Nick bottle and it landed on double scoop. So you guys know what that means, right?
Actually, we don't.
Then I found this 17-year-old interview with Drake Bell, and it was actually right after they wrapped the 4th season.
Yeah, so what's going on with Dad right now, Drake and Josh? What are your thoughts on the, last season, so what do they say about it, or?
It's kind of a bummer it's over. So, it's like graduating high school and you miss all your friends and stuff, so kind of sucks that we're not going to be going back and doing another season, but that last season I was really stoked with. It was really written well, and I thought that it got out of that kind of like kids thing and got more into, being actually witty comedy.
It's just so interesting that he's even like wearing sunglasses indoors. Like, I don't know why. It just reeks of diva, even though I know he's like not really a diva. But the fact this is so casual and like personal, like it was originally about his album and like his own personal music. It's cool that it got like a Drake and Josh moment. Okay, then I know I said that was the end of the teen game show, but I had to bring it back because look at the answers for these questions. It's so funny.
Start off.
My most embarrassing moment was
The time you tried to go boogie boarding in my dressing room.
Is that?
yes. I was on his couch and I was.
Yeah,
he
no
came in,
ways.
he was
Awesome.
wondering.
All right, Josh, Nick.
My biggest crush is Keira Knightley.
Wrong Oprah.
What? Oh
All right, Drake. Drake.
Yes. My favorite CD of all time is
Josh Unplugged.
Yes, you are so right. Beatboxing and all.
The acoustic version.
Josh, go for it.
The one thing that bugs me the most about working with Drake is
Hogging craft service?
no doubt about it.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm getting so much good content from this, like, one clip of them on this show. Did you guys ever see this?
All right, Bon Cuzbex wants to know what's it like performing together after all these years.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's
Mildly entertaining.
Guys. And finally, Cool Cat 311 asks, what do you look for in girls?
Pulse. Usually. Yeah.
Now, I know Drake's got a different answer on that one. We look.
I can't even follow that. Just
That's all right. Coming up, lots more with Drake and Josh right here at Team Nick. Team Nick with Drake and Josh, and right now it's time to give it up. And the question is.
Yeah, here's a more personal interview I found with specifically Drake Bell. Oh, poor Josh. Why aren't they interviewing him?
Our guest today is most known for his role on the hit TV series The Drake and Josh Show on Nickelodeon. In addition to acting, he's also a blossoming musician with 2 albums available in stores now and a 3rd to be released in 2008. I'd like to welcome Drake Bell. Drake, it's great to have you with us today on Sidewalks.
Hi, thank you. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about where you're from and how you got your start as an actor.
Oh, well, I've been doing this for quite a while. Since I was about 5 years old. I'm from Orange County, and my dad just, I just always loved entertaining people and being funny and joking around and playing music. And my dad just one day said, is this something you really want to do and take seriously? And at the ripe old age, 5 years old, I said yes. and here I am now.
It's just cool to hear the origin stories over and over again. It definitely gives me a good vibe for like what they were actually going for versus like what the show ended up being. And I don't know why it's just so obvious to tell like 1st season Drake from 2nd season Drake and then 3rd season. Like I feel like he is just the most distinct one. I mean, I guess Josh is too when you think about it. Then I found number 5, which is actually the Schneider universe's first behind-the-scenes clip. You remember how I was telling you before they used to do, like, pranks on iCarly.com, like a bunch of different social media or online stuff to promote the shows? Well, that's exactly what's happening here, except it's done in, like, a really poor camera quality back when they were filming the set. And Spencer's here, too, Jerry Trainer.
He's got bangs. You got bangs. You can do it.
I can't do it. I gotta be on TV.
but you can't feel it on your own.
It doesn't hurt on your own.
It didn't hurt yesterday on my arm.
It didn't.
No.
You gotta do it on your
I'm not doing it, bro. I'll have a huge
Miranda, come here real quick.
Oh, yes.
And it's cool to see them do this prank. I don't know. I feel bad for Miranda Cosgrove. I feel like she really didn't want to do it. But then again, she's the one in all of these videos. She is the constant across every online video.
It like starts to like vibrate. It's really weird.
No. It'll help you read minds.
No, lick
the
it.
The foil actually conducts electricity.
Yeah, it actually does. Lick it, and then put it on your forehead. Lick it.
Oh, you did.
Like
Jonathan
that. Yeah.
will do it.
No, he won't. No, it won't. No, lick it good. Lick the whole thing. Lick the whole thing. Lick the whole thing.
Is it gonna burn?
No, it'll vibrate.
You must.
Okay, now put it on your forehead.
What?
Now put it on your forehead. Now leave it there. Okay.
If my forehead turns red and it burns.
Okay, now just leave it there.
I don't believe that this works. If you say it works, then I'll believe it.
Gosh, what a throwback to see
No,
like,
no,
a
leave it
little
on there.
prank
Don't
video
touch it.
from this time. What is this, like 180p? Like, I can't even tell the quality of this.
I just look like a
so
dork.
absurd.
Maybe it's just a way to get people to look
I
really
think that's what
stupid
I'm
for a minute.
convinced that's what it is.
Yes, it's burning.
No,
burning?
it is not.
You're lying.
I swear to God, in my life it's burning.
No, you're lying.
It's burning like fire.
You're lying.
Shut up.
You guys are lame.
You're lying.
It burns.
It's burning?
like
Yes,
fire?
it's burning.
It's burning?
Ow.
It works.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, does it really hurt?
Yes.
It
I need
works.
like cold water.
That's awesome.
For the record, I'm against this whole thing.
Yeah, that's terrible. We would
never
don't
do
ever
that.
do that to anybody.
This is where it gets even weirder. I don't want to count this as like one of my finds, but I found one of the employee videos talking about what it's like to work on Drake and Josh with a bunch of people we've never met before.
Let's see, a regular day on Drake and Josh, we started today around 10.
Probably about 3 days a week will be 12-hour days. The other days are 10, 9. If you're lucky, it'll be an 8-hour day.
I'm Mercedes, last name Kennedy. I'm a production secretary here at Nickelodeon.
My name is Ryan Miller, and I am the production accountant for Drake and Josh.
My name is Stephen Joyce. I'm a PA here at Nickelodeon. This is the greatest place to work.
Basically what I do is just make sure everyone else is on their toes.
My name is Noah Zingarelli. I'm the production coordinator.
Yeah, I can't vouch for what it was like to work on the set of iCarly, but it didn't seem super fun. At least here in Drake and Josh, they're actually expecting everything that's going on. Up until that last video, of course.
Let's see, yesterday I broke the printer.
Basically, I ran a DVD out to Beverly Hills, and since then I have not done anything interesting or cool.
I think on an average week we have between 75 and 100 crew members.
I set up the...
But yeah, it's cool to find these lost pieces of time that really represented what it was actually like to work on these shows. And while we don't get a lot of insight on some of the controversial opinions, I do think it's interesting to look back as Drake and Josh fans to see how it kind of came together, especially since marketing was just so different back then. It just says a lot more about the show than it does us.
This Friday, some of the biggest questions in the history of Drake and Josh will finally be answered.
I've noticed that in the season 4 episodes, there's specifically 5 out of the 20 episodes that are almost exactly the same. And I'm not talking like premises or simple, I'm talking like beat by beat, character by character, almost repeated over and over again throughout 5 episodes in the 4th season. So today we're going to peel back the curtain, and I'm going to show you guys something I found that most fans wouldn't notice. So let's be real here. Drake and Josh, classic. It's memeable, quotable, and honestly, like, everybody's still watching it till this day. I've had a lot of fun writing videos about this show that express how funny and edgy the comedy is. But what if I said it's overhyped? Yeah, see, this is a little controversial, but as I'm doing the season 4 retrospective, I've had a lot of eye-opening experiences with these newer episodes. And I think the show isn't as impressive as we all remember it to be. I'm continuously reminded that season 4 is mostly everybody's favorite. And you know what? I'm not sure if I agree with that opinion. It's hard to agree when you figure out all the facts I just found out. So today the episodes I'm gonna cover are Vicious Tiberius.
On the way here, you ate a peanut off of the car floor.
It was honey roasted.
The Storm.
No, I did not predict rain.
Treehouse.
Would you watch the hand?
The Wedding.
And if we're not there in 48 minutes, there's no way we're gonna get that beach house. All right?
And helicopter.
Copper 9065.
9065, that's us! Yes, grab the mic, dude! Hello, Control Tower, this is Copper 9065, help!
Does anything come to mind when I say those titles? Like, what about them makes it so similar to one another? Did you pick up on it? So these are all bottle episodes that take place in pretty much a similar location. We start with Act 1 introducing the problem, and then the boys get into a situation and are trapped there for the entire episode. You may remember these from like the treehouse meme or the storm episode. So these episodes all have the 5 things in common. There's the setup where Drake and Josh get like a simple task or responsibility. The trap where something goes wrong and they get stuck in one specific location. The escalation where things get noticeably worse. Number 4, the unhelpful inclusion of another character or situation to escalate the issue. And the twist ending, which these all end in failure for Drake and Josh. It's just funny because it's like, of course Nickelodeon found the perfect formula to make it work. Like, the treehouse episode was one of the funniest episodes to date. Like, we still meme it all the time. So is it a surprise that 4 other episodes are exactly like it? So first we have Vicious Tiberius. The setup for this is Josh volunteers to house sit for Mrs. Hafer, and Drake tags along. They get trapped inside by her guard dog, Tiberius, and they hide in the bathroom for most of the episode. It's really funny, Drake is pretty unhelpful, and it's obvious how much he doesn't know, and Josh is the one trying to find the resolution to the scenario. Things get worse and worse as time goes on, like their phones get destroyed, Tiberius eats the other phone, and we have a guest star animal wrangler come in who ends up making the situation worse, and gets frightened away. We get the unhelpful moment where Megan comes in to help, but ends up leaving them in the dust. And in the end, they're able to escape, but the trauma is real. Then we have the storm. A storm cancels this concert that Drake's about to have and strands all the guests in their home. They spend the whole episode there, so once Drake and Josh are stuck someplace with Drake not taking the situation super seriously and Josh trying to be practical, we get kind of the same formula. This one's a lot more deviated from the 5 structure I'm talking about because Josh isn't in this episode so much, but it all kind of stands the same, and the episode has that twist where things don't get better by the end. Tension rises when the power goes out, we have unnecessary guest stars that make things worse, and it's just the recipe for exactly what Drake and Josh is. Single location, all at the house this time. That one didn't seem super interesting, but the next one is Treehouse. So this is the one where Drake and Josh rebuild their neighbor's treehouse that they accidentally burned down. Once they finish, they realize they forgot to make a door. It kind of reminds me of the exact bathroom scenario. Drake is acting nuts, and all the things that are obvious are not obvious to him, and then Josh is the only one trying to really get out. We have Megan come back for another time where she is not helpful, and if anything, makes the situation worse again. And Drake and Josh are just trying to get to their dates, but they're stuck in this place. So usually the reason they're stuck or the goal they're trying to achieve is different every time, but they're still stuck in the same place for the whole episode. And then of course the twist ending is that the whole thing just collapses. They don't actually make it to their dates. It's just them wallowing in their own self-pity. Then of course the wedding. This is the one where Drake and Josh are trying to deliver the cake to their great aunt's wedding. The car ends up breaking down and they get stuck on the side of the road, and surprise, surprise, they're at the side of the road the entire episode. And of course Drake is not helping. He's making the situation a little bit worse at every turn, and then Josh is trying to keep the peace. It's like this show is just a constant recycle. They end up even getting robbed, which kind of reminds me of when they lose their phones, or they don't remember to bring the power saw into the treehouse, or the storm is so much worse than it ever was before. Things out of Drake and Josh's control that can keep them in the environment. Just like the animal wrangler, there's a truck driver, Leslie, who comes in and you think he's going to be helpful, but he ends up just leaving anyway. And this time it's because of Drake's incompetence, which is kind of funny, but I still feel like it's a weird coincidence that they always have a guest star come in and then get scared off to show that Drake and Josh are the only ones that could solve the situation. I love that in terms of storytelling because it's really fun to watch the characters constantly get berated with inconveniences, but it's just uncanny that like none of these episodes change that much. In the end, we never see anything change. Drake and Josh are just at the side of the road and the car sets on fire, and that's how it ends. Just like the treehouse falling, just like them staying in the storm, and then I guess they got out in the Tiberius episode, fine. Then of course we have helicopter. Where are they this whole episode? I wonder. So Drake wins that helicopter ride and Josh is like, no, we shouldn't do this. They end up getting into the helicopter and not being able to get out. Why? Because they accidentally knocked the pilot unconscious. which is cool because the guest star's coming in a little bit earlier now and leaves a little earlier. But then he does come back again and then faints again, so I guess he still is that unhelpful help. Of course, things get worse. The same way they lost their cell phones, now they lose their parachutes. Josh is yelling at Drake, trying to get him to stop being a simpleton, and Drake just continuously makes it worse. Josh also makes some mistakes in this one, which is kind of interesting, but for the most part, it ends the same. They end up coming out alive, unlike all the other episodes, but this time they have a $400,000 fine, and that is a ridiculous amount. Like, you have to solve that somehow. The helicopter was the most extreme version of the formula, the one that most gave me anxiety because I am scared of heights, and that was a life or death situation, unlike the treehouse or the storm or anything else. But it was cool. So yeah, if you watch all these episodes back to back like I just had to do, you realize how similar the formats are. The wedding, the helicopter, it's all one place, a bottle episode with Drake and Josh being their usual wacky selves. A lot less scenes than we're used to, but the same hijinks occur. But like, why would you ever change something like this? Like, Nickelodeon found exactly what worked for Drake and Josh, and they just managed to repeat it perfectly. They found just enough stuff to change to make it unique, but keep the show going. And they didn't really do this in other seasons. There was not a lot of bottle episodes. Like, it's weird to think that almost 25% of the season was a single location episode. Of course it wasn't an accident, that was the plan. It's not like the writers just hit copy and paste and just changed the nouns. But it is funny to look back on and realize when you like Drake and Josh so much. Like, these patterns cannot be unrealized. And the fact that this is the most beloved season out of all of them just makes me think that people just really like predictable, structured TV. And that's exactly what sitcoms are perfect for. They're always beat by beat. This happens here, this happens here, this happens here. And I like how they do it so well and mix it up enough. It's what works. They found the perfect thing. People were not watching Drake and Josh for story arcs or emotional growth. Like, this is exactly what they wanted to do with the series to begin with, and they set out to do it. As long as they hit the beats, it was another hit. Which in retrospect makes a lot of sense. Especially feeling like this show is so much longer than it is. It's only 60 episodes, but the fact that people feel like it lasted so much longer is because it's like, of course they could have just did the same exact thing over and over and over again, and we just don't remember it. So by the time you're watching season 4, I just don't want you to expect anything really deep or impactful. Drake and Josh wasn't built to tell stories, it was built to be a repeat machine. Hit the reset button every time, and there you go. If you really want to see how deep this formula runs in Drake and Josh, don't just look at Drake or Josh. Like, you could look at the people around them too. It's not just a story structure that repeats, it's the characters, the gags, and the very roles people play in the narrative. Once you start noticing it, it's like impossible to see. Like Megan, for example. She's not just a little sister, she's a device. Somebody that comes in every episode to purposely make the situation worse. So when we say Drake and Josh leaned on a formula, we're not just talking about structure, we're talking about characters, plot, and almost comedy bits. This wasn't a show about how people change, they were just here to support this system. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys don't hate me for pointing this out about Drake and Josh. I love the show, I just really needed to point out these patterns because they are indefensible.
Now lock it! Now lock me, brother!
So I'm a very emotionally technical guy, which means I'm pretty emotionally inclined, but I like to view it in a more logical sense. Like, I like numbers, I like quantification, anything that kind of explains emotions in other ways. I wanted to use this approach to identify the stereotypes of Drake and Josh. There's a term I heard recently in adult sitcoms called flanderization. It's where you start off with complex characters that end up getting more flanderized, as in more like the stereotypes that made them work in the first place. It's like when you fix a product to take out all the bad parts of it until it's the perfect product. And it's a lot harder to do, or I mean, it's a lot more noticeable in human-like characters because we don't really reduce people to single traits. Except for Drake and Josh. I feel like it is the definition of something that got flanderized. And as I was going over the best and worst episodes, I was able to pick out exactly the moments that I felt like they realized all this stuff worked. And so I kind of wanted to go through that with you guys. For me, the goal is to see where the show was originally headed, and then kind of figure out where it ended up due to the audience reception. I feel like the first season is always doing of the writers, because they're the ones filling in the blanks for you, but then over the course of the show, the actors are the ones who take on the characters. So it's more so a different field. For example, we're gonna start with Drake and Josh today. So Drake starts out as a cool guy from the first season, but then by the 4th season, I feel like he was flanderized to be just an idiot, a simpleton, somebody without guitar goals, and just... It's hard to imagine how this guy goes about his daily life. Like, he's so incompetent, not knowing what New Jersey is, like, it got a little ridiculous. Josh, on the other hand, started out as a nerd from the first season, and then ended up just being a sarcastic jerk by the end of the 4th. And this was the way they worked as a buddy comedy. It was a good plan, and it only served them because the final season was the best season. If anything, it shows that the writers weren't as good as the actors involved.
For snacking. Little Tiberius meat. Okay, Drake, come down.
But here I can pinpoint exactly where it went wrong, and I could tell the arc. So let's start with Drake. First, using the episode 2 Idiots and a Baby as an example, Drake is the cool guy in the first season. He comes into the pilot, he's got a reputation to uphold, he's taking things seriously, and it's jarring after watching the 4th season. He tends to be a little bit more manipulative, almost even smarter than Josh, taking all of these tactics to get what he wants in a way that Josh is not really able to see at first. I didn't notice he was so underhanded and kind of ruthless until the baby episode where it was clear he was so willing to go far. Then in the 2nd season, he becomes more of a con man, and I can't find a better example than Pool Shark. You know, it kind of takes the manipulation from the first season, and he almost gets a little bit snarkier. He's not getting stupider yet. He's just becoming a little bit more of an issue. He's putting reputation before Josh. He puts his own needs before his family's. His character is really consistent with the selfish trait. But for the most part, the comedy comes with him being the straight man, which is even weirder because he's not going to always be the straight man. In Pool Shark, Josh is actually the one who pulls out a trick, and Drake gets even more serious. He gets more panicked, like a sense of responsibility, which really reminds me of how Josh ends up. This is why this episode stood out to me so much. Like, can you imagine a 4th season Drake trying to pull something like this? I feel like it wouldn't be as realistic. We get ounces of him being a player, like being good with women, and that's always from the get-go, but I feel like we see it a lot more starting with the 3rd season. In the 3rd season, I feel like he transitions from cool guy to con man, and now he's more of a player, where they actually make the plot lines a lot more heavy on him being around girls. You see a lot more girls in his life, he kisses them, it's a lot more focused on that. The Drake and Josh in is a good example. I feel like you notice the easiest trait difference in the Drake and Josh in because he's trying to be a con man like he kind of was in the 2nd season, but he leaves that in favor for more party-like tendencies. Like, he wants to have a good time, he wants to fill up the house with more people. But he also is a little bit more irresponsible. Like, he lies to his parents, he makes this whole thing go too far. He even gets the Mexican robot, which is really funny. We start to see a little bit more of his stupidity, but I still feel like the 3rd season is more about him getting girls and the consequences of that. Like, another example would be like Yuka. When Josh has that pen pal come into town, he starts a whole situation with her just because he likes her. And I feel like season 1 Drake would not do something like that. Like, if anything, Josh was the ditzy one in that season. Then we go to the 4th and final season, which everybody knows him best for, and I'm not surprised. I feel like it's definitely one of the strongest seasons. Like, even though they flanderized the characters and got them down to a science, it's almost to its own benefit. They knew exactly what worked and what to drop before going to the final season. And Drake ended up being an idiot. I don't even know how else to boil down his personality, except for, like, he is almost a one-dimensional, stupid character. Like, a character that doesn't know anything that's going on. A character that's kind of like Gibby from iCarly. Like, one that is almost not deserving of being the main center of the episode. I feel like in an episode like Eric Punches Drake, you see a little bit of his grit, and he stands up for himself a little bit more, but for the most part, we're thinking episodes like Treehouse, wedding. Like, there's 5 episodes that are all about them being stuck, and guess how Drake and Josh go about it? Yeah, Drake is definitely the imbecile in the situation. Before, he was advocating to get out of bad scenarios, and now he's the one that's not only causing them, but becoming the major inconvenience that stops them from getting anywhere. Okay, then we get to the really interesting stuff when we actually get to Josh and kind of cross-compare them. So the first season, Josh starts out as a nerd. I think the most memorable moment is the pilot when he's willing to dress up like a woman just to answer all these Ask Nancy columns. Like, he's desperate to fit in, he's kind of a people pleaser, which is nothing compared to the 4th season when he's literally like this sarcastic, passive-aggressive, resentful guy. And you don't see that in the Ask Nancy column. Like, you don't see Josh being like, Drake, where's the column?
What? Where's the door hole?
You know, like, it's so different. Obviously, we have Josh's grandma, which is another moment that he is coming across as the nerd. He cares about his game sphere. Like, it's very, he's a gamer in the beginning. Then we get to season 2 when he becomes more of a victim. And he was a victim in the first season, like a lot of bad things happened to him, but it didn't necessarily affect him too bad until like the Blues Brothers. And once Josh starts getting hated, that trope is never ignored again. Like, think about Josh runs into Oprah, think about all these other moments where Josh is the center, the theater thug. Like, Josh is the center of being bullied, and that's just the way the show crumbles. It's also really funny because Drake being the con man in season 2 definitely leads Josh into complicated situations. I feel like they always unintentionally write these characters to oppose each other, which is super funny. I mean, it works really well in the comedic sense, although the growth is all over the place. I feel like they regress and then they get better and then they regress again. Like, this show is on such a non-linear path. So after the nerd from season 1, Josh becomes more of the victim in season 2. But I would say, despite the fact he keeps all those traits, season 3, he's more positive. He's more like a mentor. He has a lot of moments of optimism, like specifically when he becomes Sammy's older brother. Like, he seems to see the good in people a whole lot more. It's definitely his moral peak. So next time you're checking out of a Costco and the cashier asks you what Josh Peck's peak was on Drake and Josh, it's season 3. It just feels like such a dynamic character. It's like more developed as opposed to Drake, who got a little bit more flanderized. And Josh will inevitably be a lot more flanderized by season 4 with some of the nerd traits being dropped, but for the most part, he remains intact. If anything, it's almost like they didn't know what to do with Drake's character, so they put him in a different situation until something worked out. And I can't believe how long they got away with that. Like, we look at this show and we're like, wow, that was like perfect. But really, it was like all over the place in terms of the traits they had the characters on. It makes me feel like they didn't even think it through when they went to each season. They just went on. But I mean, obviously, it got a lot of acclaim, so it's not like that's a bad thing. They made it work really well. So yeah, let's go over the facts. So in the first season, we have Drake being the cool guy, Josh being the nerd. Second season, Drake becomes more of a con man, Josh becomes a victim. And then the next season, Josh is a big mentor, Megan's teacher, and then Drake is a player. So he's more focused on girls while Josh is seeing a bright future. And that's when the resentment comes in season 4. Josh becomes sarcastic and Drake leans into being an idiot. And then all of this is seen in the Stuck episodes, like the 5 episodes where it's just them going back and forth. It's hard not to judge them based on that. Like, Josh is so sick of what he's dealt with in the previous seasons that it just feels like his tolerance for Drake is so much lower. I mean, obviously we could talk about Josh is Done, the most dramatic episode of this entire series, and he is such a shadow of himself in that episode. Like, he's not peppy, he's not optimistic. Even though good things are happening to him, it's almost like he naturally rejects it because he's, not worthy of it. It's all these issues he had before of seeing himself as the victim, the nerd. That's just how the character was. And it's not his fault, that's the way it was written. So yeah, Drake and Josh definitely became a little bit more Flanderized than they started out. Oh, but don't hold your breath, because we're gonna go to the parents and Megan. Megan's interesting because I feel like in season 1 she was so young, but she was more devious. We saw her a lot more prominently in 2 Idiots and a Baby, the same way we saw Drake, and she was helping the boys out for the first time. Like, she played an active role in the plot, and I feel like you could tell that she was definitely not having the best intentions for them. She was leading them down the wrong path, but then she eventually came through and actually cared about helping her brothers. So I would say she was devious, but she definitely had a sweet side. And then season 2 is when she just became a straight up bad kid. Like, season 2, she was still really young, especially compared to Drake and Josh. Her character felt underdeveloped. Like, they didn't even know yet that they wanted her to be evil. Like, they just started her out as devious in the first season. And now it's just straightforward, she's a bad kid. I'm thinking about the #1 fan episode, the one that was banned. Yeah, you guys can watch my video on that. But she, like, leads the Campfire Girls into attacking Walter. So it's almost like they didn't even want her to be subtly evil yet. Like, they just had her doing crazy things before they figured out what the craziness would be. Season 3 is when they really dove into it. I feel like at end of season 2 was when they figured it out, but by the episode Megan's Revenge, everything is so clear. Not only is she evil, she's devious, a bad kid, and wants the worst intentions for Drake and Josh. She goes out of her way to gaslight them at every corner, and she tries to maintain a perfect image in front of the parents, which I don't know why she wasn't afraid to lock Walter into one of the tents, but now she's somehow hiding full computers within her wall. Like, it's just such an obvious skip, but I think it was necessary. It definitely needed to happen in order to get half the jokes we got. And then by season 4, I feel like she just ends up being psychopathic. Like, before, she's an evil, devious, bad kid, but straightforward, like, she gets psychopathic in the last season. I'm thinking Megan's first kiss, when she's talking about, like, murdering Drake and Josh in her one-off jokes. Like, before she was, like, quirky and fun, and, like, all of this was out of joy, but then she gets committed. And that's where it gets scary for Megan. Like, she gets psychotic in that last season. And it's only in the small things she does. Like, the big episodes we remember were focused on Drake and Josh. Like, we didn't get a lot of Megan, but the way she goes in the treehouse by torturing them for not eating. In Battle of Panthatar, she goes to the party without them, of their own friend, and it seems like she's genuinely not concerned with putting them in harm's way. I definitely feel like, and I didn't go over this on my channel yet, that the turning point of that was Drake and Josh Go Hollywood, which was definitely in the mid of the second season, and I feel like that's where they got a lot of personality out of her by making her the main part of a larger special. Like, clearly they had to figure her out a little bit more to justify the actions of getting on a plane, going somewhere else, and it's so cool how she goes from one trait to the other so naturally. I feel like none of us really noticed an arc with Megan, but when you actually, like, look into the episodes that feature her, it's a lot clearer. The parents are a little bit easier. I feel like I couldn't even separate them. Just their attitudes and how they went about their family was all over the place as well. Like, if we dive into specific episodes, in the first season, they were super optimistic. Like, they wanted to be together. They were so excited to bring Drake and Josh together when they blended this family, and everything was positive. Even with the 2 babies, the 2 Idiots and a Babies episode was mainly them being supportive and trusting the boys, which is very short-lived, because season 2 is when Drake becomes more of a con man and Josh becomes more of a victim, and they actually have to be involved a little bit more. I'm thinking, like, the foam finger episode, yeah, like, that's when they get a little bit fed up with Drake and Josh and become a lot more annoyed. Like, suddenly they're solving all of their problems for them. Like, Drake and Josh just somehow can't have any conflict resolution between the two. Like, oh wait, they do get a therapist at the end of season 3 with the Dr. Phyllis show. But yeah, Walter and Audrey, like, they're so positive in the beginning, then they start getting annoyed, and then straight up when Mr. Doheny comes in, they become a lot more impatient. Like, I feel like they're very quick to judge Drake and Josh for everything. Everything is their fault. There is no optimism about being in this family. It's like, nope, this is a requirement, and you guys have to get along. Which, if you saw everything they did up until this point, makes a lot of sense. It's fair for them to get annoyed at their kids. I feel like season 4, they actually mirrored Josh a little bit and had this like resentment of how often Drake and Josh would take advantage of them. Like they ended up in so many bad situations because of them. Like I'm even thinking the Demonator when they left for one night and Drake and Josh irresponsibly let their grandfather run loose. Yeah, that was definitely a low blow. And the parents like almost get a little optimistic by the end of it, but then they jump right back down into being fed up. And then by the 4th season, I'm thinking like Steered Straight specifically, the episode where Drake and Josh are given to that police program to get them scared to go to jail one day, was the catalyst for just Walter and Audrey no longer wanted to deal with Drake and Josh. Like they were like, oh, get them out of the house. And I kind of agree, like they were so flanderized by that point, but I feel like the parents were such good actors, they didn't even let themselves get flanderized. Like they had a little bit of all these moments throughout the whole show, and it's kind of impressive. Maybe because it's easier to like write a stereotypical version of parents, it was just easy for everybody the whole time. But for me, I'm like, no, that takes some good actors to actually convince us that they're feeling all these things. Like Drake and Josh, they could have been really good up since the beginning if they knew how the rest of the series would play out, but who in the world could have known that? Who in the world could have guessed what would have been hilarious, not hilarious, Josh being a victim, Drake being a con man? Like it just naturally worked itself out, as the way it does in writing. And I like that a lot. That's why I like being a writer. It's nice to get to nitpick some of this stuff because it makes a lot more sense when it comes back to my thoughts about iCarly or Zoe 101. All of the shows started out a very specific way where they're like, this is the world, this is the characters, this is what we want to happen. And then they have that breakout episode that gets a little too far and they're like, yep, the bar is a lot higher, we have to go crazier next time. And iCarly got really crazy with that. I feel like the flanderization was at like a 10. Like it started the first 2 seasons where the characters really caring about getting this web show going, promoting good ideas, avoiding negativity, like almost like setting the social standard for their grade and not taking advantage of that. And then the second half of the show is all about taking advantage of that. It's everything that was like good about all the characters is just thrown out the window in a way that makes it easier for them to just tell jokes. With the characters being so simple, they then had to get back into more complicated plot lines, but sometimes that didn't work. I'm looking at you, I go one direction. And next thing you know, you don't even know what you're watching anymore. It's a skit show with characters that kind of have an idea what they want, but for the most part, they're just reacting to life, and they're either snooty about it or resentful, and I could see that in a lot of these shows. I do feel like Drake and Josh is an example of right at the peak of all of this, right between where they got really good writers and then right before they got really great actors, and then they kind of rode off the actors' coattails, just let those characters write themselves. Like, I liked it when they had more of a helm on what they wanted them to be, but obviously TV is not about getting one or the other, it's about trying to interweave both of them. It's kind of how I see my musicals, like trying to interweave lyrics with melodies, with scenes, with characters. Like there's just so many roles at play. You can't get them all perfect. And when you see a show go on for so long, to actually watch that unfold in front of you, it's almost like a test dummy. Like you get to see how quickly characters can change based on the plots and how it affects them in relation to the length of the show. There's just a lot less control when you add more factors to different mediums like this. And I really like it. I like there's like a push and pull where the writer is kind of the gatekeeper and the narrator in the story, and the actors are just trying to do what's best, and they came up with a legacy product. Like Drake and Josh took Nickelodeon to new levels that we only realize are so intense in 2025. Like, people are still talking about this show. It's just as praised as some of the shows I grew up with, like Big Bang Theory, 2.5 Men. Like, sitcoms, they're starting to become a shorter line in between them. Therefore, we're taking them all just as seriously as one another. And so the flanderizing issue is just across all boards. And so it's not like just specifically iCarly and Drake and Josh suffered with this. This is just something that goes on in writing in general. And if you're interested enough to click on this video, I'm sure you're interested enough to care about that stuff. I don't know, though. For me, sometimes it's just fun to rewatch this stuff and actually look back But like I said, I'm more about finding a way to put the emotional ideas into quantitative forms so we could actually talk about them and explain where things were going. Of course, all of this is extrapolated, like you could make up an argument for anything. You could notice the scenes that I didn't notice in these specific seasons that would define the character for you and completely contradict what I'm thinking, and I would love to see your video on that. Remember guys, anybody can have a YouTube channel, so if you feel strongly talking about or commenting on these things, stop complaining in my comments, make your own videos. It's actually really fun and easy, and I feel like if you just stumble your way through it like I did, I learned stuff that I cared about talking about, and that's these characters, these episodes, these exciting features. I just have so much fun with teen TV.
Give it up for Drake Parker and his band, whose names I do not know.
With Drake and Josh having like little to no DVD releases, and most of these being hard to find on YouTube, you could only really watch snippets of these shows throughout different parts of the internet. And that is not how I want to watch my childhood shows. See, isn't it crazy? Like, it's hard to find so many places. And this was such an iconic episode.
Hang on, I just gotta see this one more time.
So it turns out there is a number of reasons why some episodes of TV shows are not on a streaming service, on a DVD, or even on YouTube sometimes. It could be as simple as So Random's one off-color eating disorder joke, or it could be as severe as Girl Meets World's insensitive autism episode that you guys have been telling me about. I know what you guys are thinking, it's ridiculous. Like, why try to bury something that was so clearly in the public and accepted for some time? And I kind of agree. It's always a reason that you think is just ridiculous, like the rights to music, maybe even a single bad joke.
Turn it off!
Then there's misinformation, kind of like Hannah Montana did with its canceled episode when they started putting out information about diabetes that didn't actually make sense. iCarly got banned for making fun of a mental institution, and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody took out an entire episode because Chris Brown was in it. So there's a multitude of reasons that these networks don't want those episodes out there. Maybe for their company's reputation, maybe they don't want to be viewed as insensitive, or maybe they just want to save money. Because at the end of the day, that's all it's really about, it's the money. But it's a real tragedy when it happens to more than one or even a few episodes of a show. And the biggest culprit that has suffered from this is Drake and Josh. Drake and Josh went on for 4 seasons, and before people got offended by things in general, some of its outlandish humor and approach to teenage life was borderline controversial as a whole. But we loved it! So let's get into Season 2, Episode 8, Blues Brothers.
Hello? Drake, come here!
Dude, you're late for work. Where are you?
Here, behind the trash can.
Josh comes in all excited because he is chosen to be the weatherman alongside his father on TV. Megan is like, why didn't he ask me? And starts to build a vendetta against him for it.
I'm gonna talk to Dad about this.
Meanwhile, Drake is signing up for the talent show. Him and his band are going to perform, and this fangirl keeps coming up to him and saying all the details of his concert to prove she's the #1 fan, and it's very stalker territory.
Do I know you?
No. I love you. Bye.
And Drake dismisses it, like impressed somehow.
It's gotta be fun being you. Yeah.
Then a guy named Hewitt and his a cappella boy group come up to threaten Drake, saying there is no way he is going to beat them. They show off by singing their a cappella version of Silent Night, which is not impressive, but I guess they're worried about it.
Sleep in heavenly peace.
And the stakes are raised. Meanwhile, Josh gets stuck in the window trying to put something up, and Drake has to help him. And it's one of these moments that, like, Josh's physical comedy is just so funny. He's, like, so committed to it. Apparently, he's going to be on in 2 hours and wants to get a feel for the weather, which, if you're on in 2 hours, Josh, I don't think you should be chilling at home. He practices in front of the mirror, and it's so funny.
Today's forecast. Today's forecast. Ah!
Megan comes in and actually warns him that he could be embarrassing himself in front of so many people, and obviously gets into his head. This is probably one of the first moments we really see Megan's personality shine and actually really affect the brothers' plot, which is a shame that this episode cannot be found anywhere else. Finally, Josh shows up on the TV show next to his father, and he looks like a nut. He's doing a great job at first with Audrey and Megan and Drake watching them on TV, and suddenly Megan's voice comes into his head and makes him extremely nervous.
High pressure.
You make one mistake, and millions of people see it.
He begins twitching on television, and it is hilarious. He takes off his jacket and has pit stains everywhere, so this just gets kicked up another notch. Honestly, if I were a viewer, I would think that he was having a seizure on television. It's so weird that everybody's acting so casual around Josh about this. Like, does anybody want to help him? Drake and his band are prepping for the talent show, and Helen and the fangirl. Helen gets so impressed by Drake doing the most minimal of all activities, which is super funny, while Josh is embarrassed to be seen in public. They meet behind a trash can. He reveals he's super embarrassed to be seen in public, which Drake is like, that's crazy, nobody cares, and then this happens.
You leave this boy alone. Isn't it bad enough that he humiliated and degraded himself on the television?
Thank you, Helen.
Drake tries to get Josh a pep talk, but he's so focused on the Battle of the Bands that he doesn't really think about it. As we finally get to the talent show, it kind of reminds me of the iCarly episode where they're trying out weird talents for kids in the pilot. I don't know why, it just gives me that vibe. But they're hosting this talent show at the premiere, which I never really thought about. And things take a turn for the worse when Drake realizes that this a cappella group stole the theme song of Drake and Josh.
It's gonna take some time to realize.
I mean, obviously they don't call it that, they just call it his song, but still, it's the theme song. Josh goes backstage because he is too embarrassed to be there. But Drake, needing to go out really soon, Drake needs to come up with a plan. Josh, who's too embarrassed, is about to leave when Drake has to convince him the Blues Brothers tribute.
You're gonna sing Soul Man with me. What is this, Twitch-a-palooza? You know what happens to me when I get up in front of people. Yeah, and it's gonna keep happening if you don't get over it now. No, Drake, I can't.
Josh says no to this, until he shows off on stage. He surprises Drake by showing up in the outfit and does a cartwheel across the stage. They go through with the whole tribute, and this is one of the most iconic moments in the series, where Josh is surprisingly too good at dancing at some parts and really bad at others. And for some reason, they have an 8-piece band for this. Drake, you would have won, I feel like, at this point. The music number goes on for really long, which is not usual for Nickelodeon because they don't usually have musical numbers, so they don't really know how to do it correctly. It restores Josh's confidence, makes the a cappella group disappointed, and they win. This almost feels like an exact replica of the eventual dance competition they have in Drake and Josh. Remember one of the last episodes where Drake and Josh have to work as a team to beat this other couple? Yeah, that's kind of what this feels like. Overall, I don't know why this didn't make it. Maybe because of the Blues Brothers tribute, maybe they only had like a certain amount of time to air this episode, but it's become such a staple of the Drake and Josh series. When I look back on my memories, I do remember this specific episode so vividly. And to think that I can't just find it on Paramount Plus is kind of a shame. Do you guys even remember this one? Like when you saw this, were you like, oh, of course this one exists? Because this to me feels like a lost episode. I haven't even seen clips from this in years. Overall, this is the biggest tragedy in the entire group of forgotten Drake and Josh episodes.
No, I don't want to be on TV.
Why not?
I'd be way too scared.
But yeah, that's the episode. So Drake and Josh has had minimal DVD releases, and when I mean minimal, I mean so minimal. Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood, Suddenly Brothers Part 1 with only a couple of the Season 1 episodes, and then some video-on-demand releases from Amazon, which I do not count as official releases. Point is, there's not a lot of areas you could find Drake and Josh episodes. And what's worse is today, it's Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus is supposed to have everything. They told us they would have everything. But Drake and Josh Season 1 is missing 2 episodes, and Season 2 is missing 6 out of 14 episodes. That entire season is essentially banned. I'm gonna get into all of the episodes that are banned in my Season 2 retrospective of Drake and Josh, which is going to be coming out super soon, but I wanted to take the most important banned episode and talk about why this is such a shame. With Drake and Josh, it's especially frustrating because a lot of their content wasn't super offensive, or it had to do with more licensing issues than other things. I'm not sure if fake Helen maybe had to do with it. iCarly went pretty far with what's publicly still out there. And the fact that Drake and Josh is one of the most famous Teen Nick shows is just an atrocity. Is that a word?
What's the weekend looking like?
Well, you might want to take those swim trunks out, because it looks like the sunshine is here to stay.
Guys, I cannot believe how many Drake and Josh episodes I've been able to come across. I don't mean to recycle the same episode every day, but essentially I'm doing it. So there's 2 more episodes in season 2 of Drake and Josh that are just not airing, not on streaming anymore. It's ridiculous. Yes, they're on YouTube, I see that, but when you're yelling at me in the comments, I'm not gonna have a response for it. So I'm gonna share with you 2 today. The first one is the license episode, and the second one is the Little Diva episode. Let's start with the license one.
I seriously doubt our driving test is going to include stealing a bus and ramming dragons. Do you know that for sure?
So Drake and Josh are just hanging out in the room with Drake playing video games super loud. Turns out that they should be studying for their driving test that's coming up. They get into a big argument, and I forgot how immature these guys were. When they get home from school, they find out that Walter is trying to help the boys learn how to drive. He has this whole stop sign set up in the living room and a hula hoop as a driver's wheel. Like, this bit is so funny.
Good driver is always prepared for the unexpected.
Yeah, I know. I'm always telling Drake.
A little girl!
I get to see a lot of Walter for the first time, which I haven't really seen him be this funny, and I feel like this definitely solidifies me liking him. Megan pretends to be a little girl being struck by a car, which I do not know how that would help you learn how to drive.
Nice going, Josh. You ran over your sister.
I get to run over her next.
Drake does not take this seriously at all, but Josh does. Later, when it's actually time to take the test, Drake gets somebody really pleasant and polite, and Josh gets a really bitter old woman who hates teenagers. With every interaction, Josh and this old woman just seem to butt heads at every corner, and Drake and his driving instructor really hit it off, and she's like really into this, which is really uncomfortable.
Let me just put up your window. Do you want me to rub it?
You expect Drake to get his license and Josh not to, but it turns out to be the opposite. Josh gets his license and Drake doesn't, which is not fair because this woman clearly did not warn him of the issues of his driving. She like only fed into it, which is really not cool.
You want to fry?
Gotta keep my hands on the wheel.
No problem.
But it's funny to hear all the reasons he didn't get his license. He needs to have it for the Drake and Josh Go Hollywood movie, but I guess that's not talked about yet. Megan rubs it in his face that he cannot drive, which is super funny. And Josh is living life on the edge, driving everywhere. Drake is bitter that Josh has to drive him places when Josh actually gets pulled over. Walter warns the boys earlier that if they ever get a ticket, their license is going to be taken away from them by the parents. So when the cop comes, Josh tries every trick in the book to not appear suspicious, and he looks worse.
Oh, my heart! Oh, the bacon! I think I'm having an episode!
Give this to him when he stops faking that heart attack.
Will do.
Later, he's freaking out, and Drake offers to pay the ticket for him in exchange for taking him on rides whenever he wants. And Josh is like, wow, that sounds like a great deal. Let's do it.
Actually, I wouldn't mind going to get the zero gravity CD. Drive me to the mall? No prob.
To the Josh-mobile.
Dude, you gotta stop saying that.
So later, Josh finds himself waiting around for Drake, taking him everywhere you would imagine. And Drake just uses him for his personal gains, which is not a surprise at all. Drake holds this over his head, even waking Josh up in the middle of the night to go get tacos, which of course he doesn't want to do.
I'm not driving to the night on some Mexican adventure. Okay, I just thought that a corn shell full of beef and cheese would be a small reward for, I don't know, helping you keep your driver's license.
Josh stands up for himself and says that he's not going to just drive him around everywhere, and he could tell Walter about the ticket and stop holding this over his head. Later, Gavin comes by with a giant shovel, asking Josh questions about work, which is this his first episode? He's even waiting around as he goes on his dates. Everything gets kicked up even more when Drake asks Josh to chauffeur his date, insists on calling him Chives, and makes him wear a suit. So this is taken to the next level, as Josh just sits in the car and waits for Drake and his date.
Chives, do I need to have a talk with Father about the ticket you received? Yeah,
Yeah, you do.
Eventually he gets so fed up and the two start arguing, leaving Josh to sit in the passenger seat and said, "Go ahead, Drake, why don't you drive?" Second he gets in the driver's seat, the cop comes again. And it's the same cop, and for some reason he doesn't recognize the boys. Josh tries to be against Drake, but it turns out to be his issue because since he's the one with the license, he's responsible for Drake being behind the wheel. And the episode ends on them fighting.
You're going to have to give me 2 tickets.
What for?
One for the faulty taillight, and one for this!
The first episode that really ends on a really dark note, and like we never see anything resolved, which is fair because it's like I do want to see the funniest parts, and this is definitely it. So yeah, that was the licensed one. I thought it was really funny. Now let's go to the Little Diva. Okay, so this one in reviewing, I definitely see why it didn't need to be on Paramount Plus. Maybe because it's about this little girl passing out, and not even the same actress is playing Helen in this episode. Like, there's a lot of ways this could be seen inappropriate in the public eye. So I'm kind of glad they don't have this on Paramount Plus, although I do think it's a good episode. You know, no more chit-chatting, let's dive in. Season 2, Episode 7, Little Diva. So Helen informs Drake and Josh that a superstar is going to be coming to the premiere.
I can't tell you, it's top secret hush-hush business. Gotta keep it on the down low. We are having a real Hollywood premiere right here in this theater.
Helen's telling them about the after party, which Drake really wants to go to. And Josh is assigned to escort and protect this little girl around the premiere, which is weird because she has a bodyguard named Citrus, and isn't that his job? But I guess Helen just wants to accommodate her. The next day, Drake and Megan show up to Josh's work, claiming to look for the little girl. When she enters, Josh is more excited than them. We think she's humble at first, but then she starts bossing around Josh immediately, with her bodyguard even intimidating him when he gets it wrong.
I asked for room temperature. This water is chilled. Are you trying to kill me?
And she is a stereotypical snobby kid.
If you mess this up, I will thump you like a melon. You follow me?
Yes, ma'am. Like a melon.
Later back at the house, Drake is asking about getting into the after party, but Josh is exhausted for tending to this little diva's really specific requests.
She doesn't like the green gummy bears, so I had to take those out. Then she suggested I do some sit-ups.
That's ridiculous.
I know. Who doesn't like green gummy bears?
And Drake is just so selfish, he does not even care about Josh's well-being in this situation. The next day, Drake is badgering Josh still, as this little child is dictating the entire premiere. Helen is making sure Josh abides by every one of her whims.
If I'm gonna be helping you out, I think we should lay some ground rules.
Dance.
What?
Dance.
I don't wanna dance.
Citrus.
Dancing!
This is how he got the visual gags this episode for sure. So now he's working for her full time, even delivering a fridge. Why did she have this as a request? Later, the little girl goes to hang out with Megan at the house, and she starts bossing him around off the clock. Woof, this girl has got charisma.
Wow. Look at that. 7 seconds have already gone by, and still no soy latte.
Look, Ashley, I don't know who you think you are, but...
I think I'm Ashley Blake.
And this is one of the most infamous scenes. Megan and this girl set a bucket on top of the boy's door to knock them out, but instead accidentally dropped the bucket on the little girl's head. And they blame Drake and Josh anyway. This is like one of the most iconic lines from this show. Like, it was just so funny back then and such a meme.
She was reaching for a bucket on top of your door and it fell and it hit her head.
Man, jeez. Why was your bucket on top of our door?
Why was your door under my bucket?
The doctor from the episode before confirms that they hit her with the bucket and they keep that on the record, which is so not fair.
Perhaps you should have thought of that before you hit her in the head with a bucket.
Wait, we didn't hit her in the head.
Listen to the doctor, Josh. No more hitting little girls in the head with buckets.
Drake and Josh start freaking out because obviously they can't have the premiere without the star of the movie, and they are going to be in deep trouble. Until Drake comes up with the clever but obvious idea to Weekend at Bernie's her, use her passed out body to appear like she is still awake. This girl could be dead for all they know. Oh wait, no, a doctor just came. I don't think that's the truth.
It's Helen. She's gonna want to talk to her. Oh, the garbage can. Here, hold it.
So they have to hide it from Helen, which is not actually Helen. This is another actress that it's weird that they replaced her. And Drake and Josh have to go through the entire event making it look like natural that this girl is awake. And it is horrible. Like, there's no way this comes across as real. And right when they think they're out of the clear, the premiere guards expect her to answer a Q&A. So Drake and Josh insist on going with her to the podium and answering the questions for her.
You two gentlemen don't need to stay here.
Yeah, we do. She's a pescatarian.
All right. The press may now ask questions.
Ashley?
But obviously everybody gets frustrated and the facade becomes a lot harder to keep up. Finally, they get through it and throw her back into a trash can. Oh my god, these kids. Later, they pull her out and give her to Citrus, who puts her back in the trash can, and they leave her there. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I could see why they left this off Paramount Plus. This one specifically, having the little girl passed out the whole time, having the guys take care of her, but not a lot of the parental supervision coming into play. Like, this is a bad look for a kids network. And some of the jokes are funny, but I definitely think it's safe to put this one aside. It's not worth the risk. Although the bucket joke is exactly the redeeming quality for this entire episode. I wish they just rewrote it or at least re-edited it to take out some of the more ridiculous issues. Otherwise, it was a good Drake and Josh episode, but it definitely doesn't hold up with the culture of what we have today. It's not a terrible episode, but I definitely see why Nickelodeon doesn't want to publicly put it out there. Although I do wish there was like a section of that set aside for us. Like, these are really fun episodes, and I want to still be able to see them now. I can't believe how much in both of these episodes I still remember. Like, I would assume these lost episodes were things I have never seen at all, but it turns out these are just like the most common, really good episodes that played every day on Teen Nick, and just suddenly they're not available anymore. It's insane. If I had to go over another show character-wise with the episodes that changed their arcs, what shows would you guys want to see? Would you want to see Zoe 101? Would you want to see Hannah Montana again? Just leave your comments down below, and I thank you guys so much for watching me talk so long once again. This is Johnny 2000s, and for all your 2000s movies, media, TV, and so much more, come on down, guys. Okay, see you next time.